One of the first things you'll probably notice in Evolve 9.5 is that if you mouse over objects in your scene, they will automatically pre-highlight. This is done to give you more visual confirmation as to what part of your model you're going to interact with before you even select it. Also, if you select in an area where there's more than one object available to select, it will bring up a selection box and continue to pre-highlight the items as you mouse over them in the selection box. If the selection box is in your way and you would like to move it to a different location, simply move your mouse cursor and the selection box will continue to follow your cursor to its new location. So then you can continue to mouse through the different options, and then when you're ready to make the selection, just pick the object and it's automatically selected. The pre-highlighting works in two different ways depending on whether you're working in shaded mode, as we are here, or in wireframe. In shaded mode, none of the objects that are behind the visual objects are allowed to be considered in the pre-highlighting. So I can only select objects that I can visually see in this particular view. If I switch to wireframe, then I have access to all the objects no matter where they lie in this particular model or in this scene. So I can select the back faces or the front faces. If that's too much to deal with visually, you can go back to shaded mode and then you're just interacting with the visual components of your model. For editing the control points on a surface or an object, we've done a couple things to make the workflow a little bit easier. The first thing we've done is visually we've added these lines in between all the various points to help understand exactly how the points relate to one another. And we've also made these lines, which are called hulls, interactive so that you can select them. So if you wanted to pick all of the points along this part of the model, instead of having to pick one by one each one of the points, you can now select on the hull, which you can see pre-highlights here, and it will automatically select all the points along that area. Same thing if I select the points along this hull, just those points will automatically be selected all the way around the object. So this is a really fast, easy way to make selections in a very logical orientation. So if I wanted to scale these points, now I can scale these in or out. Or if I wanted to translate them or move them, I can very quickly just pick on the hull and move all of those points at once. We've also added a new feature in the Translate tool, which is called Nudge. This can be kind of handy to create a little bit more control over the movement of points. So to activate it, just push T or select the Translate tool, and you now have the option to nudge either 1 pixel at a time or however many pixels you want at one time, or you can pick a fixed distance. Okay, so the influence distance by default is set to 5 and it's set to pixels. So I can now use the arrow keys on my keyboard, and every time I push the up or down arrow in this case, it will move it 5 pixels. Now I can also choose a fixed distance, and whatever my units are set up to, I can choose fixed distance. I can set that value, and then again it just allows you to use the arrow keys on your keyboard to have a little bit more precise control over the movement of those particular points.